I've been in sales all my life, and I've had a successful run.
I've been in deliberate influence all my life.
Oh, you too. The position that I'm in now, in the industry that I've been in for the last 10 years, it seems like it's taken its toll because of the business model that is used. It's abrasive, it's aggressive, it's a bit manipulative. That energy is not fun to be around, although with all of that, I've been able to focus my alignment.
Sounds like contrast. Sounds like contrast that helps one focus.
It does.
It sounds like not a feathered nest. It sounds like contrast from which you select and focus. Sounds like the world at large.
In a microcosm, yeah. And I've done whatever I've needed to do to be in my own little 3-foot world and do my thing. And as a result of that, I'm still breaking sales records and making a nice living, and all is well with that. So I don't have any angst about the financial situation, but it just wears on me.
Resistance does wear on you. Resistance is the only thing that wears on you, to the point that...
A month ago, I talked to the owners of the company, and I said, I need a break. I need to take a respite, if you will, of 30 days just to...
Do you need to walk away from all of it, or can you change your vibrational perspective? To release resistance, does that require a different environment and different behavior and different action? Or is it an attitudinal adjustment, a mood adjustment, a perspective adjustment?
It's just difficult to hear the conversations. I'm in a group setting. It's a bit of a telemarketing type
Your
thing.
inner being hears and chooses what it hones in on. Can you? Are you forced into a perspective? When you hear something, are you demanded to hear it the way they're speaking it, or can you hear it differently than it's being spoken?
Pretty hard to hear it differently than the way it's repetitively
If a
saying.
mother yells at her child, "Don't you know I love you?" in anger when the child is run into the street, did you hear from a mother who loves her child or from a mother who hates her child? Don't you get to decide? Don't you get to look at it in the way that serves you best or that lines you up most? Sometimes people will say to us, Abraham, I'm getting a divorce, or I'm leaving this job, or whatever. And we always say, well, if you're leaving because there are things there that you don't like, then it's important that we tell you you need to get out of town too. And then we need to tell you to get out of the state or out of the country, and now off the planet, and now we don't know where to send you. Because in every particle of the universe, there are things wanted and unwanted. And so we know that sometimes it feels like you get yourself focused in a way that what you're focused upon is depriving you of your alignment. So it feels like you're sort of giving up life force by being there. But we're just saying you can change your perspective and get your life force back. You don't have to go to a different place. And that really is the message that we've been speaking all day here today. Otherwise, everybody would leave their children today. Today. Gotta go. Good luck.
What's interesting is that I'm in my 30-day sabbatical, and it's been great because I've meditated, I've done whatever I wanted to do, I've had the ability to come and go as I please.
Well, we're not saying that you couldn't get away and tune in and then go back and be more tuned in. We're just asking you to not need to get away in order to tune in.
But what about the aspect of retiring and enjoying life, letting pass the baton to somebody else that does what I do?
Well, we think that's a wonderful thing, but we also know that contrast causes you to launch rockets, and rocket summons life force, and releasing resistance under those conditions keeps you alive and vital and feeling really good. And that if you're feeling resistance, and so you decide that the resistance is too much for you, so you decide to just not play the game so that you don't let yourself ask anymore, so the energy isn't flowing, so you're less alive and there's less adventure. And the key to a happy life isn't getting rid of things. It's not getting rid of desires. It's releasing resistance. When we teach meditation, did you hear the conversation about meditation? If we were following what you're sort of driving at here a little bit, we would have said to the person who was asking, well, the first thing you need to do is just set a month aside and stop doing what you're doing for a month and focus on the air conditioner, like for a month. We're not mocking you, we're not teasing you, we really mean this. And in that month of alignment, you'll feel a whole lot better. But hardly anybody has a month. So we encourage 15 or 20 minutes every day of releasing resistance. That will do it. We're not saying that what you did is wrong. We're just saying that if your choice is don't be there where it feels uncomfortable and then give up everything else that all the momentum has been providing, or stay where you are and release the resistance and allow everything that it's all been providing, that seems like a more universal law-based, what your inner being would encourage, offer, or encouragement. You feel disappointed. Did you want us to say you did a really good thing about pulling yourself away from that? But the thing is, you can't stay away indefinitely. And when you go back, what has changed? Because it changed because you went away. So when you go back, you're not away. So it won't have changed. That's the rub with trying to do it with action. I went away and it changed, and now I'm back and I'm not away, so it hasn't changed. But if you stayed there and you didn't go away, you just meditated and got yourself into alignment anyway, now you're back and it doesn't have to be different. You're just in alignment there.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I also want to manifest $10 million.
Well, we would encourage that you don't start over. You got a lot of momentum going.
And I feel like there's some big things coming. And when I talk about the job, I don't feel this bogged down because...
Does $10 million feel like the next logical step?
Yes.
Then it is.
Yeah, it does.
Then it is.
For the things that I...
Then it is. But when you said it just now, you made it sound like something that stands out as a big thing, not as the next logical step. Otherwise, you would have said, also, one of the things that I'm in the process of doing is manifesting $10 million. And then 20, and then 30, and then 40, and then 50, and then... But that's not the way you said it. You said it as a punchline because it doesn't feel like the next logical step. It feels like a great big step. But you can make it feel like the next logical step if you will just focus on where you've been. It really is the next logical step. It's been in your vortex that and a whole lot more for a long while. And meditation really is the key to it. You see, there's so many things that are tied to what you believe. And for us to try to sort out what your beliefs are about different things would take a long time. We could write a series of 10 books just on what we're reading in your vortexual vibration and in your resistance along your path. And it's not necessary because knowing all of that would not necessarily make your path clearer. In fact, it would probably make your path more cumbersome. But if we can convince you that you're supposed to get what you want, and that as you have clarity about what you want, and you do, you've made some very strong decisions. That's one thing that we can really feel in a powerful way that's coming from you as you're talking about the decision you've made. You really mean this. You want to feel better. You want to release the tension, and you associate the tension with what you've been living. And you took some rather dramatic steps that sort of trample all kinds of other beliefs. It was sort of like you prioritized what matters most. And so at the same time that you walk away, if you really walk away, you know for sure that at least in the beginning, your financial wherewithal will be diminished quite dramatically if you don't keep doing what you're doing, if you don't keep the momentum going the way that you've been keeping the momentum going. And yet it matters so much to you to feel better that you took this, what you're calling a sort of temporary step. And you wanted from us some validation about the rightness in taking a temporary step away from, but we don't want to validate that that's the way, because where you are is the path of least resistance for the other things that you want, like the $10 million. That's the path of least resistance for it, isn't it?
Yes.
And so, can you feel the little bit of contradiction that was offered here? I'm walking away from this thing that I know for sure is the path to something that I really want. So now you've got contradiction going on within you, but why not say, I've got some momentum going and I'm good at what I do and I've been doing it for a while. And momentum is flowing and the money is too and the manifestation is in the offing and I know it's the next logical step. But it's been a little more tense to me than I want. So I'm going to find a different way of looking at this. I'm going to spend a little more time in meditation, like 15 or 20 minutes a day. I'm going to tune into who I really am. I'm going to get clear with my resources. I'm going to feel more intuitive. I'm going to have better timing. I'm going to make better decisions. I'm going to feel better the whole way along. I'll have evidence of a more resilient feeling body. I'll feel the energy moving through me in a stronger way. I'll be having more fun. I'll be more lighthearted. I won't take it so serious. When I hear them there talking the way they talk, I won't take it serious. I won't feel like I need to push them away or walk away from them. I'll just see it for what it is, and I'll see it for part of the contrast that's helping me, and it is what it is, and it's no big deal. I can take it. It's not causing any real ill effects on me because I have the ability to focus, so I can have my cake and eat it too. I can stay right here in this environment that felt pretty toxic to me before I started meditating and getting an attitudinal adjustment in myself. Meanwhile, I don't give up the path of least resistance and the momentum that I've got going for the other goals that I have. I don't have to sacrifice one thing to get another. That never ever works. That never works.
It just seemed like, and I've been in and out of a lot of vehicles over the years. Some of them had some flat tires, and
every one of them did their primary work. They focused you into the more that the creative genius that is you will always demand. Because there's no regression. There's only motion forward.
I just felt that it was time to move on to another vehicle, but not necessarily another job. I'm not looking for another job. I'm not looking at what I'm doing and saying, oh, I don't know.
But that isn't what you said to us. You weren't talking about moving on to another vehicle. You were talking about leaving this one, and then you gave us all the reasons that you want to leave. And that's a whole different vibrational vantage point. That's the only thing we were responding to. It's a big difference between saying, I've been here, it's served me, it's inspired me, and now I feel more, and I'm moving into another vehicle that serves me in the same way, and along with it, there's more fresh air there, but that's not what you said. And that's not what you meant either. What you meant is, this place has gotten too hard. This place doesn't feel good. A lot of people, they'll be in a relationship that feels too hard, and we'll say, why don't you leave? And they'll say, because there's so much that I want that is here. And we say, you're in a really hard place. You want it, but you don't want it. You got to clean that up. And you say, I'm trying every day. I'm trying to get the people in this relationship to be different so that I can feel better. We say, that's not what we meant by cleaning it up. By cleaning it up, we mean you got to focus upon what you want and let your vibration be about that so that the law of attraction gives you that from the relationship. There's just no other way around it. The expression you can't get there from here really applies. It's a vibrational thing that you do. And we love you so much, humans. We love you so much, but you are so action-oriented. And when you become less action-oriented and more mood-oriented and more alignment-oriented and more inner being-oriented, when you care more about your resonance with your inner being, which means your resonance with all that you've been asking for, then you become more loving of yourself, more trusting of yourself, more willing to accept that good things are supposed to come to you, more acceptance that things can come to you without so much struggle, so you can be more easygoing, so you're not fighting your way to the top, but instead you're just allowing yourself to rise to the top. So when you watch those that are struggling and fighting their way to the top, they amuse you and you understand it because you've been there, done that, but you know that you've stepped into another vehicle. You have another plan. You have another way. You know that your desires never go away, that your desire doesn't dissipate. Your desire only continues to gather more momentum. And so as your desire gathers more and more momentum and you stay the same, then the crevasse between where your desire is and where the larger part of you is and where you and your physical body are becomes more and more strained. So you feel more and more to the breaking point, which feels like you need a hiatus from it. But you don't need a hiatus from it. You just need to turn in the direction and go in the direction of your desire, which means you got to stop talking against your desire. You got to start talking toward your desire. You got to feel yourself in the direction of what you want.